Now we need to leverage our calendar, setting up our calendar. And this has been a tremendous help for me in my coaching practice is using this as almost, think of bowling and putting up the guide rails for the ball to go down the middle and not go into the gutter. My calendar acts as kind of guide rails for me to highlight and identify, okay, what do I need to do today? What do I need to get done in this allotted amount of time? And you'd be surprised, people waste a lot of time, and I've fallen prey to this too. I'm not immune. We waste a lot of time, and I think using your calendar to your advantage can help you minimize how much time you're wasting. Because I think if there's one thing we could all agree upon, we want to minimize time wasted because it is finite. So let's look at my calendar here. This is from a fairly normal week. The layout of my calendar has gone through many iterations as my priorities, responsibilities have changed over the years. But as you can see, and I color coordinated because I used to have it all blue, and it was, I don't know, I did that for a while, but then I thought one day, let's make it a little bit more artistic and colorful. So as you can see, the bulk of my work and time is devoted to programming. So 5 days a week I have programming, and I prefer programming in the morning. I feel sharper and my mind's fresh. I don't have as much going on in my head, so it's easier for me to stay focused and do good work there, because at the end of the day, that's still the bulk of my earnings per month is from programming, so I have to give that the most amount of attention. So that takes priority. One thing you'll notice, I plug in slots for eating. I think this is super important, and I've spoken to a lot of coaches who have gone through a mentorship program with me, is making sure you're setting aside time to eat, or even if it's to take a break. I don't have that anymore, but in the past when I did have a lot more clients, I would plug in 30-minute breaks doing consults, because I might have had 3.5 hours in a row of consults, and that's a lot back to back to back. You're going to get really tired. So doing, say, 3 or 4, take a break, come back 3 or 4. So if you have the option, remember, we're operating under the assumption that you have a lot of flexibility with laying out your schedule and your calendar. If you don't, then this might be harder to apply to you. So keep that in mind as I'm going through this, because I pretty much have 100% autonomy over how I want to lay out my week, which is great. And so this is an example of how I'm doing that. So I have my programming, I have my meal times. These blue little sections with names, these are clients of mine. And so these are consult slots. So this one is, I can't recall if I have this open for consults or not. I don't think I do anymore. I think I got rid of consults on Friday, so don't hold that to me, against me. But these are all slots that I have for consults weekly. So like I talked about in the previous video, programming is of course priority number 1, then priority number 2 is consults. So I have to make time to speak with my clients. Then from there I have my lunch. So again, it's an hour, which is nice. So I have time to eat, walk, or just like take a break. I'm not rushed. That would be another suggestion. When you do set time aside to eat, make sure you err on the side of more versus less, so that nothing's rushed. There's nothing worse. Well, there are things that are worse in life, but one of the worst things in life is feeling rushed. It's a very uncomfortable feeling. At least it is for me. So I'm making the assumption that you agree with me there. I don't know. Maybe you like being rushed, but I don't. So I add more time to my lunch hour. And then after that, I have some work for the business that I'm working on. So I have time set aside there. That it's flexible. So as you can see here, I added in some additional calls and things that I had to have done this week in particular. So I plugged those in there. And then right now I'm training in the afternoon. I've been doing it for, I don't know, maybe a month and a half. I wanted to try. I've done it before, and it's nice going into training and having all my stuff done for the day. So I'm trying it out, see how it works, and if I like it and I stay with it, I'll keep doing it. If I don't, I'll pivot, because again, that's the fun part about this. It's an ongoing experiment. You got to find like what's the right, formula for you to make sure you get everything done. And then once I'm done with training, Then I have flexibility after that. Usually I'm doing some other things, whether it's learning, or right now I'm trying to practice the piano, which is a fun new challenge. So I usually do that when I get home if I'm not too destroyed from training, which impacts my training because I can't like destroy myself, because then I'm gonna go try to use my brain and move my fingers around. So it acts as a nice governor for me when I train. And then if we go to, before getting to Friday, so on Wednesday I don't train, which is why it's a bigger day programming wise. Usually Monday and Wednesday are my bigger days, and then Tuesday, Thursday are moderate, and then Friday is a lot shorter. It's much condensed. And then the podcasts, I'm usually setting aside time to record it there, and then I'm preparing notes here. And then the afternoon on Friday is, again, some more pieces around certain things for business and things I'm working on. So this is the current iteration of my calendar, and it's reflecting my priorities, highest to lowest, with work related. As you can see on the weekends, I don't have anything. All of this is confined to the week, so that when I get to the weekends, sometimes there's things come up I have to work on, but I don't have ongoing things. I try to keep those really open and more recharging based than draining based. So hopefully this can act as a nice tool and insight for you on how you can leverage your calendar. This is a Gmail, so I tie this into my email, which is great. So like on my phone, my laptop, they're all connected, so I can easily see my calendar and have those guys connected. And yeah, if you aren't using your calendar, I would highly suggest starting to play with it and start to use it as a tool to help you create a little bit more structure and add some guide rails for your time, so that you can be more efficient and optimal with it, so that you can spend time on the things that matter and also save time for yourself and the things outside of work that are also very important and need to be accounted for.